Good afternoon. I declare this celebration open.
Good afternoon. As Pro-Vice-Chancellor and Head of College, I'm delighted to welcome all of you here today as we reunite the class of 2020 in celebration of your achievements during your time at Birmingham and since. This is not a normal degree ceremony, and it's not taking place at the normal time. But then these have not been normal times. The global pandemic has impacted all of our lives in ways that we could never have imagined just 18 months ago. You will all have your own memories of how you felt in the spring and summer of 2020 as our vibrant campus community moved almost completely online. It was not the conclusion to your degrees that you had wanted or that we wanted for you. Yet in the most challenging of circumstances, you showed that resilience, that ingenuity, that tenacity that represents the very best of a Birmingham student and a Birmingham graduate. Whether you completed an undergraduate, postgraduate, or research degree, and I know there's a particularly large group of PhD students here this afternoon, I hope that you will look back with fondness on your years with us at Birmingham. We are proud of your achievements, and you should be proud of them too. So give yourselves a huge round of applause. Graduations are a defining moment in the university's calendar, and it's a moment that we as a university could not let pass without the proper celebration and the recognition that it deserves. We celebrated your graduation in online ceremonies in the summer of 2020, but we always remained committed to bringing you back to our beautiful campus for a true Birmingham graduation experience. So the events and activities that we're hosting today demonstrate the value that we place on you and your achievements. We hope that you will enjoy this opportunity to be reunited with each other, to share your success with friends and family, to put on your robes, your suit or posh frock or whatever you decided to wear today, and to recognise and reflect on your achievements during your degree and since. And PhD graduates, well done. Normally we would read out your names and all of the wonderful and challenging subjects that you have studied. Now, with quite a hot day and most people in the room standing and a shortened ceremony to account for that, we can't really do that today. But I would encourage everybody to look round to the PhD students. They're the ones with the fancy maroon robes and the green bit, and ask them what they did their PhD on, because it really bears listening to. Einstein did his Nobel Prize-winning work as a PhD student. So I want to offer you special congratulations and thanks. Actually, your work is a core part of the research work that our university does. It's at the cutting edge of social science and the humanities. And indeed, some of you will have also been involved in teaching our undergraduates. So please, a round of applause for our very special PhD graduates. Now, this may not be an ordinary graduation ceremony, but as I say, it's not been an ordinary 18 months. Our university community has stepped up during this time and played its part in the nation's response to the crisis. Our researchers have developed new tests to detect COVID, new medical interventions for those suffering from it. We've contributed to the understanding of the disease and indeed some of the societal economic consequences so that we can better deal with it. Many of you have supported vulnerable members of the community, whether in Selly Oak, here in Birmingham, or in your own communities further afield, distributing food, medicine to those most in need, volunteering in hospitals, helping neighbours. The student response to the pandemic that you began in 2020 has continued, and we remain in awe of the way in which you, our students and graduates, have continued to support your communities and each other. In fact, the degree celebrations in the Green Heart this year are a first for us. But this is a university of firsts. This was the first UK campus university, still the best. The first to incorporate a medical school and to offer degrees in commerce and social work. The first to allow women to take medical degrees and to create a women's hall of residence. Perhaps today represents a first for you too. Let me particularly congratulate those of you who, like me, are the first in your families to graduate from university. Others may have been the first in your family to study in this country or to study for a postgraduate degree. Certainly, you are all amongst the first to graduate through a global pandemic and to take your next steps into employment or further study as that pandemic continued to afflict the world. You are the COVID cohort. And whilst that might have felt hard during the last year, the tenacity and resilience that has been required will stand you in good stead in the years to come. I also want to celebrate the fact that most of you are graduates in the humanities and social sciences, having studied in Cal, Cos, or LANDS. Now, some people would have you believe that a humanities or social science degree is somehow less valuable than a degree from a STEM subject, a lifestyle choice rather than a route to a proper job. Now, this might not be the best recommendation, but most of the current cabinet studied for a humanities or social science degree. Boris Johnson studied classics. Michael Gove studied English literature. More seriously, you have learnt the most important skills of all, the ability to think, to make a case, to weigh up evidence, and boy does the world need that right now. We may be in the throes of the fourth industrial revolution with huge technological advances, but it will be the ability to humanize these technologies, to put them to use for the good of society rather than a privileged elite, that will mark out whether we advance and progress in the coming decades. So my message to you is continue to think, be creative, imaginative, argumentative. Don't accept the status quo if you can imagine something better. Live in a rich and wonderful world, not one that is simply automated and efficient. For most of you, last summer will have marked the end of one kind of relationship with the university and the start of a new one. You are now members of a distinguished family with over 300,000 members in more than 170 countries around the world, the alumni of the University of Birmingham. Hopefully, in the last year, you've already engaged with our alumni relations team. Perhaps you've been back to support the next generation of students already. If you haven't, please do. And wherever life takes you, please stay in touch and tell us what you are doing. You and those who are with you have many reasons to be proud today. We share in that pride, and it's in that spirit of pride and accomplishment that I now hand over to the first of our two student speakers, Miranda Jones, to continue this celebration event. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you for the very kind words about PhD students, which I'm sure have been appreciated by many in this room, including myself. It's so lovely to be here today as we are finally able to celebrate the achievements of previous academic years. I think I speak for many of us when I say that I am delighted, pleasantly surprised, and most of all grateful to have the opportunity to be here today with friends, family and peers in order to mark our experiences here at the University of Birmingham. And as a result, I would like to say thank you to all those who have worked so hard to make this day and others like it actually happen. These staff have made today and the entire experience of studying at the university such a pleasure. When I was invited to speak today, I was offered some guidelines on possible topics. These included discussing the highlights of my time here at Birmingham. On giving this some consideration, I realised that this was impossibly difficult, as there are so many wonderful experiences to choose from. While studying here, I've learnt more than I ever could have imagined. The academic staff and research support that I have received here has been incredible. with a library which goes above and beyond to provide its students with access to brilliant resources and teaching staff who make learning a truly enjoyable experience. I've been able to meet world experts in my chosen subject, take part in a placement with the Shakespeare Birthplace Trust, study archives, attend fascinating lectures, join a wonderful seminar group, and engage with fellow learners and make wonderful friends. There have been lots of late nights in the library, lots of absorbing discussions with academics, and of course plenty of visits to the on-campus coffee shops with fellow students. In March last year, I handed in my thesis, one that had taken almost 4 years to research and write. At the time, I knew then that my life would change, but I had no idea that the entire world would suddenly change shortly after, and on such a drastic scale. They say, of course, that absence makes the heart grow fonder, and my own heart struggled to accept that I could no longer go into this beautiful green campus, meet my supervisors in person, or meet my friends in the library cafe to discuss our next steps. The university quickly worked to ensure that my Viva still took place virtually in June, and so the exam that I had spent several years preparing for suddenly changed. I know that many people here today had the same or similar experiences, and I know that it was scary and difficult. What an achievement then, after the world changed so suddenly and dramatically, for us to be here today in our unquestionably impressive gowns, with the people we care about, celebrating having successfully completed our studies here. If no one has said this to you already, then it really needs to be said. Well done. You should be very, very proud of this rare and valuable achievement. We did it. Congratulations. So let's enjoy the sunshine, the green hearts, and taking plenty of photos of ourselves wearing our long-awaited robes, as this has been hard-earned. I studied English literature here at the university and specialised in poetry, and therefore I just can't resist ending with a literary quotation or two. As I studied the poet Derek Walcott specifically for my PhD, I think it is apt to choose the words of this remarkable poet and illustrate his gift for eloquently expressing that which is so hard to communicate. I was tempted, at this time of uncertainty, to use a line which has certainly grabbed my attention as a student graduating in 2020. The future happens, no matter how much we scream. However, I think it's better to end with the more inspiring and comforting tone of a rightly celebrated and beloved poem by Walcott, one which reminds us of the value of accepting, appreciating, and loving ourselves on a day of celebration, at a time when, perhaps more than ever, we need a reminder of this. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome, and say, "Sit here, eat." You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you, all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life. Thank you. I'd now like to introduce Student Representative Sarisha Goodman.
Hello. When I was first asked to give a speech, I was both honoured, shocked, and terrified. The most I've ever got to a graduation speech before has been Elwood's speech in Legally Blonde, so please forgive me if this is not the graduation speech you would have expected. I studied education and sociology, and I'd first of all like to congratulate the class of 2020 because what an absolute year. I think it's fair enough to say that our final year was definitely not what we expected. From library closures to classes moving online, to panic moving before lockdown, our final year was characterised by chaos that none of us could have ever predicted. However, we're all here today, and we've all made it, and I think we should all take a chance and a moment to recognise how truly amazing that is despite of the circumstances. You should all be incredibly proud of yourselves. Within the last year, I've seen my course mates go on to such amazing things, becoming civil servants, researchers, social workers, and teachers. And I'm sure that everyone here is destined for a successful future and a successful career. My experience at Birmingham was somewhat unconventional. I transferred from the University of Edinburgh after my first year of studying sociology, feeling isolated and alienated from my university community. Going to Birmingham was a huge risk that a lot of people did not advise me taking. However, it's probably the best risk I've ever taken in my life. The community feeling at Birmingham is one of the best things about this institution. Despite the fact that there's 30,000 odd students here, I'm still amazed by the community feel and the tight-knit community here. My time at Birmingham gave me invaluable experience, from being given the opportunity to being mentored by Baroness Doreen Massey as part of mentoring schemes, to getting my first internship through the Careers Service, to advising research at the Institute of Mental Health, which I still do today. I am forever grateful for all of these experiences, and like many, there's too many good memories for me to be able to list. It feels like only yesterday I was at the Vale with my housemates for the first time, climbing through inflatable obstacle courses and gorging on pick and mix. And the happy memories I've had at my time at Birmingham will last me forever, as I'm sure it would be the case for a lot of you. I'd like to thank the amazing staff at Birmingham for all their help. I think it's incredible that we're actually here today, as so many of my friends from school and my acquaintances were not able to have a graduation ceremony. So I'd just like to thank all the staff that made this possible, and also thank you for believing in us and keeping us in mind. I'd also like to thank everyone here, from lecturers to library staff, careers advisors, guild staff, cleaners and welfare officers. Everyone plays a crucial role in this institution, and I think it's important to thank them all, so thank you so much. Sometimes it was library staff and cleaners who got me through library all-nighters, and I'm forever grateful for the kindness and friendliness that I was always offered from staff. I'd like to thank my friends and family for supporting me throughout this time, and I'd like to thank you all here for being here today. If you're supporting your family members or your friends or partners, I'm sure it means a lot to them. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm so grateful, and I'd like to pass on to our next speaker.
Thank you, Miranda and Sarisha, for two very personal and really excellent speeches. You're just two great examples of the wonderful students we have at this university. We could have selected any number of you to come up and speak, and I just think that quality shines through. Thank you. And a very good afternoon to you all. It really is wonderful to see so many of you, so many of our class of 2020 back here on campus, so many of your families present today. It is an occasion which, of course, was delayed by a year, unavoidably delayed, but it really is important that we were able to bring you back and to celebrate your achievements, to reflect on your time at the university, all the hard work you put into getting your degrees. It is a landmark moment in your lives, and I'm sure in future years you will look back very fondly, very affectionately of this ceremony and the day and the way you were able to come together with your friends, family, and indeed staff around the university. It's also an important ceremony because it's the last one of this particular group of ceremonies. We were determined to welcome back our class of 2020 in person to celebrate your degrees. And we've held 17 ceremonies since last Wednesday. We put on an extra day today because the demand was so high, which was wonderful to hear. And we've been able to accommodate and celebrate with over 6,000 students and, of course, all the families. So I think that's wonderful. And thank you all for coming back. Big cheer. For our graduates, it's probably several years since you first came to this university, and it's a good moment to at least reflect on that first day when you arrived. I'm sure there was a lot of excitement. Of course, it was a pre-COVID world. But I imagine there was quite a lot of trepidation. You were moving away from home in most cases, and of course it's a very big institution, much larger than the schools that you will have come from. So worth thinking about what it felt like, but also reflecting on what you've achieved since then and how you have evolved as a person, because you will have changed considerably since that first day. Since that moment, you have met numerous new people, you've developed new ideas, you've overcome new challenges, some very significant, of course. You've grown academically, intellectually, socially, and of course, personally. And now today, 1 year on since you graduated, 1 year on as an alumnus of this university, you are now progressing into your future careers and endeavours. So many, many congratulations to all of you for that success. Well done. And our student speakers have acknowledged the support that they've received and you all received from the staff here at the university, a number of people who've helped you all as you've achieved your success. But I do think it's important that we recognise the families, the friends, your loved ones, because they have supported you not just as a time as being a student here, but throughout your lives. They've really helped you. So I think our graduates should just do a big round of applause for all the families here, and thank you. Now, for those of you who have begun or indeed are continuing your working lives after graduation, you have undoubtedly entered one of the most difficult, the most challenging job markets in living memory. To those who have been successful and entered their chosen profession, and I heard from Miranda just now that she's done that, which is great. Many congratulations to you all, and I really hope that you're enjoying your new career, you're finding it fulfilling and enjoyable. To those who are yet to do so, please do not lose heart. You are a Birmingham graduate, and a degree from this university is not easily obtained. It is truly valued by the country's top employers, who recognise that this university provides you with an outstanding education, equipping you with the intellectual curiosity, confidence, knowledge and transferable skills which are required to thrive in your careers and make a genuine difference to the world. You are already a high achiever. And while there will always be challenges, and inevitably there'll be some setbacks, we have no doubt that you will make a success of any task that you set yourself. Birmingham graduates have always been characterised by their perseverance, tenacity, and personal resilience. And yet, as the graduating class of 2020, and you were described by Professor Black as the COVID class, these have been tested in truly unique ways. Many of you will have faced significant personal challenges, whether you recovered from COVID itself, or you spent periods self-isolating, or you coped with studying or working in isolation from home, or you took on extra caring responsibilities. Unfortunately, some of you will also have experienced the sadness of a personal loss. You will know the ways in which the pandemic has affected you personally, and you should be proud of all that you have accomplished in the face of such adversity. Do not forget the character you have shown. Instead, draw on it as a strength. You have seen your way through uncertain and difficult times, and whatever challenges you face in the future, you will be as well placed as any to meet and to overcome them. Now, as a graduate of this university, you have gone into a world that desperately needs you. And again, we heard from Professor Black about why it is so important we have this diverse set of graduates from a range of disciplines, from science to the humanities, social sciences to medicine, and so forth. It is a world that you can help to remake. It is a world that you can help to reshape. It is a world that needs the kind of skills, the kind of ability, and the commitment that characterises students and graduates from this university. The university motto speaks of this, per ardua ad alta, which roughly translated means through great efforts to high things, the degrees we celebrate today. But your efforts will now take you to new places and to still greater heights. You will test yourselves, you will prove yourselves, and together you will help rebuild the world for a better future for us all. So whatever career you choose to pursue, and wherever you find yourself in the world, you can be assured that you will always be part of the Birmingham family and our alumni network, a network of over 300,000 people scattered throughout the world. We hope to welcome you back again in the future, whether that is for further study, to mentor students, to come to an event, or simply just to enjoy the campus, to reunite with friends in future years. We will always be here to provide you with advice, to support you, and to celebrate with you as your lives and your careers develop. So as we draw this particular celebration to a close, let me thank you for everything you've given to us and to each other during your time and studies with us, and all that you have continued to do so since your graduation. This great university would not exist but for its remarkable students and alumni, and we should never forget that. I wish each of you great success in the future, and I trust and hope that the experiences during your time here at the university will continue to shape and help your future lives. Thank you. And before the marquee blows down, it's my pleasure now to declare this celebration closed.